Hi everyone. So I went to this event, evening, dinner at my friend Jackie and Josh's last night. They just moved here from New York City, and they do something called an edible sensorium or edible experience. They are the best of the best in the food world, if you ask me. And essentially it walked us, the four of us, through this practice of really deeply nourishing ourselves with the food that's in front of us. And not only nourishing ourselves, but being aware of our pace, being aware of our different senses. We had our eyes closed most of the time. And essentially tapping back into that deep, visceral sense of eating and how primal and intimate and just like yummy it can be, right? Like I know I posted something this morning, and I think it was Ryan posted that he tends to inhale his food, and I actually have witnessed and seen many people, including myself, just inhale food, right? And the practice that Jackie and Josh helped us get present to was that, yes, there's a guy walking outside the window right now, just like rocking it. That was awesome. Anyways, they helped us get present to this idea that, you know, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I've definitely heard it in the money, sex, power, and pleasure realm. Well, food is no different. And after college, some of you guys know this about me, some of you don't, but I heavily got into the food world. Finding out about food, nutrition, health, where your food is coming from, worked on farms, worked in restaurants, was a chef to some degree, like the whole thing, pop-up dinners, you name it, I was doing it. And I became pretty obsessed and loved it, while also having a really hard time with my relationship with food. I was doing so many things. Like at one point I had like 5 different jobs that I was doing because I just wanted to have my hands in everything, and I was passionate about everything. And I think to some degree was just trying to numb myself from all of the different feelings I was feeling post-college. Stuck around in Boulder. I noticed I'm like closing off right now. Stuck around in Boulder and felt really lonely. And I turned to food in more ways than one as my self-soothing, security, and busy, time-consuming way, right? And what I got present to, one of the many things I got present to a new degree in this experience, was I had gone from having, I don't know, just a relationship to food that wasn't good or bad, didn't have as much awareness around it, like all the crazy stuff that's going on in America, all the different nutrition, blah, 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 blah. Just, I got so into it that I became fearful of food. And not only fearful, but I also became to find food as self-soothing. So I would eat too much. And I guess, as you can see, that also mirrored itself in my life. I was doing too much. I was overworked. I was undernourished because I was just constantly consuming. I like hate saying this right now. It's so uncomfortable, but yeah, like sometimes I would eat like 4 meals a day of like, not like little meals. Like I was full. And you know, I think I've always been super active for the most part, so that's been like the good side. But yeah, there's so many different realms, like that we had all these questions that we answered before, and I was just answering the questions was bringing up so many different memories that I had forgotten about my relationship to food and how I treat it, right? So going back to the experience, I had this come up at the beginning through my thoughts, and was realizing, wow, like had this plate of really simple ingredients in front of my plate, and I started to play and have like touch and textile and sense and smell, and I have a really strong sense of smell, and I could just smell everything on the plate without even looking at it. I knew that there were beets on the plate. I knew that there was balsamic vinegar in something. I knew that there was like everything that was on the plate I knew, and then there was one ingredient that I didn't, and it was like just so trippy to be able to have such an entire spread of just little things, really, really simple things on my plate, and dive in to such a degree that it was like orgasmic, honestly. Like everything from having the touch of all the different textures, whether it was grainy or like juicy or like a peach, right? Like, oh my God, dripping peach all over your face. Like that's the best thing, right? Especially, I mean, it's kind of coming out of the season, but right now peaches are still pretty in season in Colorado. And then like the spicy and the sweet and combining flavors in your mouth, and like making almond into almond milk, and like taking it really, really slow and exciting yourself through how you're pacing each bite and each moment. And it was freaking awesome. I cannot tell you how badass this experience was. And I think my hope and desire for this video right now is that you take maybe an extra 10 breaths through the meal that you might just shovel down your mouth through eating at work, right? I know that just like going about our day, there's a tendency where like on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. I have to do the next thing, what next task, next person, next call, blah, 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 blah. And if we can take a moment, just sit down and give ourselves space to be present, whether it's in conversation, whether it's in meditation, whether it's with our body, whatever it is, it's all the same. It's all the same. It doesn't matter what you're doing it the same way. So my invitation is to take more breaths, to take more time for yourself, and to be present to maybe this concept that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And just reflect on that. Maybe do some journaling. So just invitations, take or leave whatever you feel your heart desires. And thanks for watching.